Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials. Now, here are your hosts, Lady Alba and Lord Knight.
Okay, let's see. Well, Lord Knight, there used to be this lovely thing called church and state. Remember when that was a thing?
Oh, yeah, I love that idea. The separation of church and state.
I don't know why I just turned into Fran Drescher. What is happening? We got 2 states in the news right now.
Yep.
So, Louisiana started it.
Yeah.
Good job, Louisiana. They passed a bill to put the 10 Commandments in every single classroom in the state, which is super fun because it still doesn't fix the fact that you're like 50th in the country for education.
And
they're at the bottom.
I'm not even going to start about the American education system.
I know. And then, as if that wasn't enough, good old Oklahoma stepped up to the plate and said, hold my beer. And Oklahoma passed a bill that now requires schools to teach the Bible.
Now, is it wrong of me to sit here and say this? Part of me is not worried about it because I know what the Satanic Church is going to do.
Well, and that's the funny thing, right? So the Satanists are all on top of this, which I think, again, is funny. We've talked about this in past episodes, just in case you guys don't know. The Satanists we are talking about are the ones that operate out of Salem, Massachusetts. They are, yes, recognized as a legal religion. They're brilliant, but it's really a political movement. And what they're trying to fight for is equality and religious freedoms and, basically this idea of stop telling us what we can and can't do with our bodies, our rights, or, everything.
Right.
And so
big L libertarian.
Oh,
people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that they have really been promoting and pushing is this idea of equality with religion in regard to schools. And so they have this phenomenal little pamphlet, tiny little book about the laws in question.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's pretty straightforward. They operate from the position of if you are going to force a particular religion onto children, then you have to be fair about it. Right. And you have to represent other religions. So here you go. Here's a guide on Satanism. Introduce it into your curriculum.
Congratulations.
Right. And everyone loses their ever-living shit.
Because most people don't understand how laws and rules are set up.
Not a clue.
And laws are set up, if one can do it, we all can do it. If one can't do it, none of us can do it.
Funny. That sounds a little bit like how a temple operates.
Funny?
Huh. Looky.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Now, here's my question. Do you think this is more of a reaction from the extreme things that we've seen in the country in the past couple of years?
I think it is. Yes, I think it is very plainly. There is a group of extreme conservatives who, with a lot of these recent changes, obviously what's happening with politicals and our presidential candidates and all of that, who have just gone, we can do this now. We can reclaim the Puritan origins of our country. And it's gross.
Well, what I find funny is that these people do not seem to understand. The same thing happens in reverse that happened on the left, where you have a group of people that all come together because they have certain beliefs together. But as those beliefs get more and more specific, more and more people drop off because they don't completely agree on that.
Either way, it's just, instead of just letting these things lie, right, and going, you know what I do in the privacy of my own home is my business in regard to my family and my children, they feel this incessant need to impose these things on other people. Why?
Well, let me ask you this, okay? Well, I know me and you do not agree with the 10 Commandments in their entirety, right?
I mean, I mostly agree with them, but I get what you're saying. Sure.
I mostly agree with them. Would something else be better? Because, again, as a country, we used to have certain morals or ethics in line with one another. Because it seems like to me, instead of the 10 Commandments, would it not make better sense to do the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
I mean, because technically those are based on the Ten Commandments, but made more neutral.
I mean, there's that. There's the Constitution. I mean, there's any number of ways that this could be
better done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just bizarre. Look, I remember when I was a teenager, I was such an asshole. I was already leaning,
right.
pagan. And so, when we were doing law and court systems, like, right, we were learning about judicial crap and, and one of the whole things was we would do like mock trials and, you had to swear on the Bible. And I would go, no, I don't.
Nope.
And it was a huge to-do because I was like, I'm not putting my hand on that book and swearing anything because I don't believe in its contents. So to do so, I would already be perjuring myself. I'd be lying.
And what did the school system say?
It was a thing, but ultimately, yes, the history teacher that, ran that was like, she's not wrong. So it basically becomes, okay, do you simply swear to take an oath? Yes. But, a Bible was an unnecessary component. But now, I mean, these ideas, so, the superintendent of schools in Oklahoma, it's really funny because if you go to YouTube, you can find it, went on a rant about how the Satanists will not be taught in our school. This is not going to happen. This is not going to happen. And he goes off and the Satanic Temple responded. I told you about this by taking one of the clips from Schoolhouse Rock that's, 30 plus years old, that was literally the laws of the Constitution and said, here, let us educate you, superintendent of schools. It's so funny to me. But what's not funny is, there's no balance and there's no equality to this. So if they're going to start doing this, what about the Muslim kids? What about the Jewish kids? What about the pagan kids? All the other, the Buddhists, the Taoists, where is the other religious representation going to come from? It is a ridiculous idea that still we feel we have to shove this 2,000-year-old book
down everybody's throat.
Yeah, onto people. I do not understand it. And this concept of, I don't know, this Christian idealism that basically wants to wipe every other faith off the map. It's out of control.
Well, I mean, it's not just Christianity that wants to do the same thing either.
I mean, that's true. I guess in other countries you see the other side of that coin.
As far as I know, Muslims want to do the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
for their prophecy to come true, that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
The whole world has to become Muslim.
But it's so, I mean, I don't know. Every time I feel like we've evolved, this happens.
It's like 2 steps back.
Yeah. It really does always kind of make me wonder, right? If we showed up at the local school district and, went, here you go. Nobody's going to be like, oh yeah, we'll introduce this immediately. No. So
I mean, but again, I don't know too many pagans that would actually do that.
I mean, I would, but only in political response.
Right.
But this brings me to, the crusading, proselytizing. I do not still understand why so many Christians believe it is their literal mission to convert other people.
It's mandated in the religion itself.
But how did that become a thing? I mean, I get it. Early on, right? That was how you convert. That was how you got numbers. That was how you grew.
You went out, ministered to.
But to continue that practice, I don't get it.
Now, let me ask you. Now, we've been talking about this. Now, in the schools.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about the clubs?
Mm-hmm.
If a school, random school, a bunch of kids got together, hey, we want to have a Christian club.
And that's another part of this debate. Absolutely.
I have no problem with that. Now, again, with that said, if a group of kids get together and go, hey, we want to have a pagan club.
Well, and there it is. The Satanists actually have an after-school program that you can adopt.
Right.
And that I would be in favor of. To me, that is no interest. That is no different than any other extracurricular interest.
Because then you have to volunteer to go into it.
Exactly. One would hope at that point those kids are there voluntarily and of their own wants or desires versus someone forcing them to do it.
Ignoring the parent in this, that their parents do that.
They do. But, that's why I said I would hope.
You would hope.
But I mean, I also look at the other piece of this. Are children going to be given the choice or the opportunity to be excused from those lessons? Are they going to be, or will they be punished? I mean, we've also seen this mirrored in the prison system in this country, where it is very common for there to be a literal Christian mass held in the prison, and they try to make it mandatory that everyone attend regardless of their faith. And there's so many people incarcerated going, no. I don't want it. Why would that's not my religion?
I mean, to me this seems like a lawsuit to start off with.
But yet these things continue to happen. And in the prison system and in jail populations, those inmates that are excused and they basically get told, okay, fine, you don't want to attend because you don't align with the faith, but they're punished for it. They're not given an alternative. They're given solitary confinement, or they're given, some other ridiculous means of isolation where you go, what?
Right.
So you're singling these people out and you're punishing them because they don't want to be preached to.
If it's not part of this faith, you're not going to.
Yeah. It's awful. And so I'm like, what's going to happen with these kids? And what's really funny about this is we're moving in a direction where modern society, right, less and less and less parents are enforcing religion upon their kids and are taking their kids to church regularly. We're seeing that loosening of society. And so that's the funny, right? Is this the conservative response to that? Is this
it could be.
Yeah. It could. But why are these parents not up in arms? Why are they not just absolutely livid that this is going on? Or do they just think there's no hope of fighting back?
Or do we just not go on that and research that side of the story? I'm sorry, I listen to a lot of these stories and that's all I ever hear.
You're right. And and I don't live in Oklahoma, so it's not like, I don't have a kid in the school district, so it's not like I would know if there's some, I don't know, coalition or something trying to rally against this, because there very well could be.
I mean, well, there's always a coalition rallying in the United States to do something.
Yeah.
Me personally, my feelings on all of this is, I personally think the whole public school system needs to be burnt down and forgotten about. Wow. And parents need to go back to directly educating their kids.
Ooh, that's
either homeschool or pods
statement.
And all this. This is getting to be bullshit.
Wow.
Because again, kids are being exposed to stuff that parents don't want them exposed to. I've been through the school system, the whole 9 yards. It sucks. When kids come out and they can't read, when they come out and they don't understand math, when they come out and they don't understand why 1 times 1 is 1.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the logic of the math behind them.
It's such a strange thing, right? Because I was very fortunate. I had a great public school education. I had a phenomenal public school education. Like, I still believe.
For me, I'll say that. I can sit there and say the same thing. I mean, I was in special ed. I got special tutors and all this other stuff. But it wasn't exactly what I needed. What I think I would have needed or done better with is if I was homeschooled and my mom could tell my whole entire day based on my learning style.
But that also puts a huge burden on parents that they can't all do that, right? They have to work. There's not always the ability for them to homeschool their children.
No, but again, like I said, the pods and all that.
Yeah.
Again, instead of that tax money going there, can the parents put the money back in their pocket and find the right education for their kids?
That's interesting because some places in the country have created their own like little municipalities where they've done that.
Some of these places during COVID and stuff in these complex buildings, they created what they called a pod. They took a room, made a school out of it, and all the kids just went to it.
Yeah.
All the parents pulled their money together and got teachers.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I half agree with you. I think that is definitely one possibility, but I think the other is that the public school system needs to be completely stripped down to just the basics again.
Yeah.
Math, science, English, physical education.
Let the parents worry about philosophy and...
Yes.
And
all the rest. Well, here's the other thing. It's not even necessarily the parents. That's what college is for. There is a reason that higher education, right, comes with electives and comes with the opportunity to pick and choose. But school-age kids, it should be very, very simplistic. It should be regimented, at least until high school.
Yeah.
At least until then. Because if that was focused more, I really do think, we would have better outcomes. It's more in line with what China does, and let's be honest, they kick our ever-living ass when it comes to academics.
I'm still back to I remember why we have the summers off in the United States. It was supposed to be for when farming families needed the kids to help during the harvest.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore. Why in the world are we not? Why are our kids not going to school year-round?
That's interesting.
Even back into my generation.
Yes, there are. So my stepkids were actually raised in a district that went to year-round schooling.
Yeah.
Because they saw absolutely no reason for it. And you're right. The other thing is the idea of summer break has changed so much in the sense that it used to be a very physically active time. Kids would go outside, they would play, there were sports. Now these kids are like stuck indoors with gaming systems and YouTube. And I'm like, stop it. What the hell is going on? Yeah, it's just a waste. And so what it does is it gives them plenty of time to get lazy and disdain the idea of going back to school in the fall. Instead, when you switch to the year-round system, you just give them longer breaks throughout the year. They get, 2.5 weeks at Christmas. They get 2.5 weeks in spring. They get every semester, basically, they get a small reprieve. Great. Do that.
Well, see, like Lady Keegan, now she homeschools,
yeah.
But I know she sets her kids up. They actually do school all year round.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do 4 weeks, and then she'll take 2 weeks off, and then do.
Yeah, makes way more sense to me.
But I mean, I know her youngest, and I'm not trying to give out info, but he's a little hyper, and she doesn't give him any medication because she changes his behavior and stuff to where he can run outside and play for a little while, come back inside, do a little bit more work.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's being adaptive to the child and their style of learning, but it's still making sure that the focus is on the things that they really need
to learn.
Yeah. And I mean, those basics to succeed. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm always like, what do you mean you're 14 and you don't know how to read a map?
When you can't understand the concepts of quarters.
Yeesh.
That the
basic
word quarter,
algebra.
The word quarter represents 1/4.
Right. Basic algebra. Yeah.
Basic algebra.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people going, so how long's a quarter of an hour? 25 minutes.
Holy shit.
And you're like,
what?
Hoo-wee. A quarter of a 60 minutes is not.
No. Holy crap.
All right. So again, this is, I think, is what our problem is.
No.
We're too busy focusing on all the social. We're not actually giving an education.
Yeah. Also, I will say, I do think, moms and dads have checked out a little bit. They're not as present in their children's education. They're not they're just unaware. And that lack of awareness, that blind faith or trust in the school is part of the problem here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's that blind expecting the numbers or the rating numbers on music and movies to be correct.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah. We can't. You're right. We can't trust.
No.
Yeah.
Again, Gen X. Authority. No.
Trust no one.
Trust no one.
Man, I'm all hopped up. I need more coffee, but I think it's got to be decaf.
Oh, Lord.
I know.
I
admit defeat.
Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning